Imagine a story where the protagonist was never the first choice but ultimately became essential to the conclusion. Leah is that character in biblical stories. Far from being a central figure, this rejected wife of Jacob built a legacy few dare to imagine. Often, in our own search for recognition and love, we forget that true worth lies beyond the gaze of others. Leah, a wife nearly forgotten, becomes the heart of one of the strongest legacies of the Old Testament, the lineage of Jesus, a milestone in biblical genealogy. What if being overlooked could actually lead to something far greater? Leah reminds us that, often, the approval we frantically seek isn't what we truly need. Her story compels us to ask, are we focusing on what truly matters? Perhaps the value of our own journey isn't in what appears visible but in God's hidden purposes. Prepare to dive into a story that upends expectations, challenges the obvious, and transforms pain into purpose. A powerful lesson in resilience and faith. Leah, commonly remembered as Rachel's less favored sister, plays a fascinating and profound role in biblical stories. Imagine the tension. Overlooked by her own husband, she gradually becomes an example of strength and resilience. And there's a powerful lesson here. Sometimes, in seeking others' approval, we overlook the value we carry. Leah thus represents those who, without public acclaim, find purpose behind the scenes. Isn't it interesting? Even without being the favorite, she becomes the mother of kings and prophets, from whom Jesus himself descends. Among biblical characters, Leah stands out for her transformative capacity. In her pain, feeling rejected, she could have succumbed to despair, but instead, she turned each exclusion into a foundation for a unique journey. How often do we find ourselves facing similar struggles? Regardless of how unfavorable situations seem, there's an opportunity to leave a legacy. If we look at our own lives, could an apparent defeat hide a strength waiting to be revealed? Leah reminds us that even what seems small in human eyes can have a profound impact. Her legacy transcends time, becoming entwined in the lineage leading to the greatest kings of Israel. By observing biblical prophecies and genealogy, we see how she was essential to fulfilling divine promises set for the kingdoms of Israel and Judah. Curious, isn't it? Leah, the overlooked one, becomes fundamental in God's plan. Her story exemplifies how our paths can lead us beyond expectations, especially when we understand from the divine perspective, where even the unexpected has significant purpose. Leah and Jacob's story begins with an act of deception hard to imagine today. Jacob, in love with Rachel, worked 7 years for her hand but was shocked when, on their wedding day, her father Laban replaced her with Leah. This left Leah in a complicated situation, married to a man who did not truly love her. Here, we find one of the harsh lessons biblical stories bring. Sometimes, our deepest pains come from those meant to protect us. This marriage, marked by deception, could easily have destroyed Leah. After all, how can one stay strong amidst feelings of exclusion? Yet Leah exemplifies someone who turned a blow from fate into growth. How many times in life are we deceived by unfulfilled promises or left aside when we expected support? Leah reminds us it's possible to transform hurt into strength. For those seeking more in life, it's not enough to survive betrayal. One must grow from it, as she did with resilience. When we look at the battles in the Bible, we realize not all are fought with swords or armies. Some are internal, waged within the heart. Leah faced such a silent battle, not fighting just for Jacob's attention but to find her own worth. Her story invites us all to confront our personal struggles, with the courage to understand that, even in the face of deception and pain, it's possible to build something lasting and meaningful. Despite the emotional challenges in her marriage, Leah found an unexpected source of victories in her children. In a time when a woman's value was often measured by the number of children she bore, Leah was blessed with 6 sons and a daughter, securing her place in biblical genealogy in a powerful way. Each birth was living proof that, though she didn't have Jacob's love, she possessed something even deeper: God's favor. And how often in our lives does true reward come from where we least expect? Leah's children not only solidified her role within the family but became foundational to the tribes of Israel, the very pillars of the kingdoms of Israel and Judah. In this sense, she reminds us that some things we build extend far beyond ourselves, remaining for future generations. Imagine building something today that inspires others years later. Leah accomplished this not through grand acts of heroism but by her ability to take root and value what she was given. Among biblical characters, Leah's life testifies that our attitudes don't limit the victories we can achieve. Even in a complicated relationship, she found success in watching her family grow. For those seeking practical advice, this teaches us that amidst adversity, we can intentionally nurture relationships and cultivate daily victories, whether they're large or small. After years focused on winning Jacob's affection, Leah underwent a profound spiritual transformation with the birth of her fourth son, Judah. At this moment, she did something unexpected. She set aside her desire for human approval and turned to God, finding a peace that transcended her circumstances. Imagine the impact of such a moment. Suddenly, the focus shifts from seeking validation to genuine gratitude. This episode in her life marks a point where she embraces divine love, something beyond earthly reach. This turning point with Judah's birth prompts us to reflect on the importance of redefining our values and looking at what truly matters. For Leah, gratitude to God replaced the pursuit of something always out of reach. How often do we find ourselves seeking approval in places that cannot fulfill our true need? Leah's journey shows that there's a moment of surrender, where true satisfaction comes from connecting with the eternal rather than the fleeting. Understanding this spiritual turning point, we see how biblical stories often reveal miracles of transformation. Leah became an example of resilience and faith by choosing a path different from what was expected. Instead of clinging to what caused her suffering, she found new direction. This lesson is valuable for any of us. Sometimes, we need to look beyond immediate desires and seek something deeper. Thus, Leah begins to walk a path of true fulfillment. Leah's life takes on new dimensions as we view the lineage of her son Judah. In an unexpected twist, this son, born of a marriage marked by pain, becomes the ancestor of kings, including King David. Moreover, from this line would come Jesus Christ, a legacy that bears the highest promises of biblical prophecies. How often does what seemed a weakness, or an undesirable circumstance, become the very key to something grand? Judah's journey reveals how divine purpose can act, transforming innovation into reality. The kingdoms of Israel and Judah became prominent nations in biblical history and in fulfilling God's promises, with roots tracing back to Leah's son. Imagine a divine irony. The son of the wife who was disregarded becomes the pillar of an entire dynasty. Looking at Judah's genealogy, we see that the true value of a lineage doesn't depend on perfect circumstances, but on the victory that accompanies each generation. This inspires us to look at our own lives and ask, what legacies are we building, even in situations that seem minor? Furthermore, biblical characters show us that what may seem insignificant today can be the seed of a great legacy. Leah and Judah's story encourages us to cultivate the promises and talents God has placed in our hands, even if the world doesn't recognize them. Every small step may be building something eternal. And so, even when we don't see the full picture, we can trust that there's something greater at work, a message that resonates in every new generation. Leah ends her journey with a powerful legacy of faith, marked by a shift from seeking human love to placing her full trust in God. Since Old Testament times, her story is proof that true contentment doesn't come from external validation but from connection with the divine. How often do we see characters who seem marginalized, like Leah, only to earn heavenly recognition? Here lies a profound lesson. Everything she endured led her to an inner peace that transcends any human approval. This peace not only shaped her life but ensured her place among the greats of biblical genealogy. The fact that she rests in the family tomb alongside the patriarchs is a tribute to her faith and perseverance. Imagine it, she, once overlooked, receives an honor reserved for the greats of history. For those seeking a purpose in life, her story offers a clear example that victories come from unwavering faith and a life dedicated to something larger than oneself. Leah, then, challenges us to look at our own battles and frustrations through a new perspective. Are we trying to please those around us when we think we're searching for something eternal? Leah's life reminds us that, in the end, the decisions guided by faith are what remain. And with that, a new possibility opens. Who knows what other stories, yet to be told, hide secrets and lessons that could change the course of our own lives? Leah left us a heritage of faith that transcends generations, and it didn't come without struggles. So, looking at your own life, what are you willing to build, even when no one seems to notice? Her story invites us to live with purpose, to build a legacy that goes beyond circumstances. What battles have you faced today that, with a little faith, could become the foundations of something eternal. The beauty of this journey is that it's never too late to start seeing what truly matters. And now, are you ready to apply this knowledge? If so, join us. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and explore more about biblical stories and the hidden lessons in the lives of biblical characters, where each narrative brings a powerful teaching. After all, the journey continues, and there's always more to learn and live.